on my Area 51 line. You're on the air. Hello.
Welcome to the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast, where what you've known as reality will be shattered by the truth. Krista and Brandy will lift the veil from your eyes, revealing what has either been hidden or denied you for eons. And we are here.
Wow. That was a quick intro there, Tex. I got it for a moment, and before you know it, boom, here we go. It feels like extended brunch with Rob this evening.
Yeah, we're and then I get off of here. I'm going on with Monica. So,
tonight is Thursday night. We got Ms. Rawlins on. Yeah.
It's going to be a busy weekend for me, man. I've got I'll be back here with Brent tomorrow night, and then I'll probably end up on Breezy's show. And then Saturday I've got I'm co-hosting over on Southern Belle Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And then Sunday night, Saturday night we got your show.
Yeah. Now you're going to be on this Saturday. I know you co-host with Brent now on Saturdays. You come on because last Saturday you were incognito.
Yeah, I'll be on Brent's show. But when I get done, I'll come over to yours.
Yeah, very good.
Catch at least tail end of it.
Right.
And then Sunday I'm on with Josh.
Oh wow, big week for Tex.
Yeah. And then Monday on the porch, I've got Danielle Diva as a co-host.
Very nice. Sounds good. Busy week.
So keep Brandy and Krista and their families in your prayers. They're going, they got some stuff going on, and we know you will. But the show must go on, and they saw fit to let me and Rob take the wheel for some insane reason. I don't know why, and then set us up with Bigfoot Dwarf. And it's
yeah.
Man, I don't know. No adult supervision. This could go off the rails real quick.
Well, those guys from Humboldt. I kind of leery. Of course, I'm kidding.
Well, I had him on my show a few days ago, man, and we had a great conversation. And we had talked about doing a part two. Well, here we are, right?
Here we are. It's weird how time works, how timing is. Timing's everything, they say.
Right.
All right.
Well, we got something going ourselves. We got the conference coming up in September. And
yes, we
folks,
do.
I know a lot of you are going, man, it's September. Why y'all promoting it so hard now? Folks, it's almost March.
Yeah.
This is going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, and Tex, I was an ad. This is really taking off faster than we thought. I mean, and this is if people are coming down to thanks, Keith. If people are coming to Missouri,
yeah,
there's very limited hotels around there, and the one that we're all staying in, Tex, I found that it's damn near already booked.
Yeah,
so yeah, don't hesitate. That's why we do the advertising early, and so thanks to all you guys that are going to come on down. Get your tickets today.
Yeah, look over on Eventbrite, and it's Crossing Realms Conference in Richmond, Missouri, and look it up. Get your tickets. There's plenty of the ghost hunt for Saturday night is sold out, but they're giving ghost tours during the day that you can sign up for. They're only $10 a piece, I think. Yeah. And then you got then Saturday after the conference, you got the gallery reading with Marilyn Bast, which is going to be awesome. I've never been to one. I'm looking forward to it. But Friday night we've got Ron Murphy going to speak. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I know Miguel from Sasquatch Theory.
Yeah.
Is speaking for sure. And Martin Groves,
Martin Groves is speaking Friday night. Yeah. and of course we're having dinner, and then we're showing Chris is going to show his
Garantano.
new movie.
Yeah,
Gaetano's going to show his new movie.
his documentary.
Yeah.
This is unlike a lot of other conferences we've been to because, first of all, this is paranormal, UFOs, and cryptids.
Right.
And we have a ghost hunt, and we got like 20 people that are pretty versed in the areas as speakers and featured guests. We got like 20 people, Tex. And that's kind of it's unprecedented, I think. I'm not bragging because we're all putting it on.
Well, hell, I'm going to brag. I mean, because I'm proud of what we've done, and
I'm proud. I'm still a little humble, but right now it's off to, and you're humble too. I didn't mean it that way, but yeah, it's just hey, just keep it rolling, and we'll all be there.
Our speakers are Josh Hurd, and Professor Heather Mosier from Small Town Monsters, William Lunsford, the Falk Monster Hunter, Lady Ann Celine, Ron Murphy, Dr. Dean Burcham, Greg Ogles, Frank and Dan from Haunted Garage, and they are bringing a haunted car, folks. It's going to be awesome. And we've got Sir Brian Bowden and Miguel Ramirez from Sasquatch Theory. But that's not, the speakers aren't just the only thing we got going, man. We got special guests that are going to show up, and we got Ken Gerhard, Dana Stricker, Brent Thomas from Paranormal Portal, Ryan Edwards, Mike Familiant, Christopher Garetano, Linda Eastburn, and I can't read the last one because I blocked my way to read it. There we go. David Glidden, and of course, and our one of our latest special guests.
Yeah.
One of our latest special guests is Donny Cho.
Donny Cho.
Donny Cho will be a special guest.
Thanks, Kelly.
Dale Boswell is also on the list. He is a Bigfoot researcher and country music musician. And thank you, Kelly. I co-hosted over on Southern Belle Bigfoot. If you haven't checked her out, go check her out. It's Selena. We've been doing some great interviews. I'm helping her, get her channel started up. And we just interviewed Dale, and he is such an interesting guy, such a great guy too. He's another special guest of ours. But it's going to be great. And I'm trying to talk Dwarf into coming.
Hey, why not? It's only in the middle of America, so who knows? You never know.
Yeah.
All right.
He can jump on the back of a Bigfoot and they can run him over here. It won't take you time.
He can fly over. Brown always looks up. He can catch a ride from a extraterrestrial or UFO or a UFO. I don't say UAP. Speaking about Mr. Dwarf, he's hanging out somewhere, isn't he, Tex?
Yeah, he's back here. And the thing about it is, hey, Dwarf.
Hey.
As much activity in the skies as he's had around his shop lately, he could probably hitch a ride.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That would be cool. And yes, prayers. How do I sound? Do I sound all right?
Yeah, you sound
all right. Sweet. Yeah. Got the headphones on. Actually got a hoodie on. Got an alert from the weather service here just a few minutes ago. Flash flood warnings out here, and it is flooding outside the shop. And so we're getting some water, which is good. But hang on, get those surfboards ready if you're in the SoCal area.
Yes.
And
So are you in the SoCal? I know that you also hang in Oregon, right? You go back and forth, correct?
Yeah. So we lived in Humboldt for many years, over 10 years. And a lot of my experience comes from up that way. So a lot of the stories I share, a lot of the experiences I share are from up that way. But a few years back, we had moved to Southern Oregon, where my queen, she has ties. She grew up in Ashland, Oregon. So we figured, all right, we know the area. She knows the area very well. And let's move back kind of to her home. And it was just 3 hours north of where we were. So, not too far, and beautiful country as well, and Bigfoot country for sure. So I wasn't missing Humboldt too much, although I miss it so much. and we will be back at some point. And we have been doing some visits throughout the year. Pretty much every year we've been doing the Bluff Creek expeditions, or camp outs, whatever you want to call them, squatch outs, and those have been fun. It's cool to still, touch base with the community out there, and also the Bigfoot heads that come up and do the damn thing up there. So yeah, it's been good. It's been fun, but yeah, quite a change of scenery, of course, coming from the northern part, the Pac West, coming back here to the concrete jungles of Los Angeles. Oh man,
Yeah.
it's been, and I grew up out here, so I know what it's like. Grew up in Hollywood, and know that whole scene there, and so I know what LA is like. But it's been quite a change since I've been
Oh,
gone.
I bet. Have you seen any what's going on over there
Oh
firsthand?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's been wild, the homeless issue has been big, and, that's it's obviously going on all over the place, not just here.
Right.
But yeah, LA seems to be the epic center for a lot of things, and that's, one of them. And, with that situation, you got, of course, the crimes up, and it's just, really, yeah, really scary at sometimes. But yeah, you could go, walk down the block, have a great day. I think, yeah, it depends your mindset as well. What your mindset is like, what you're into, what vibes, what are you attracting in your life. And so you could be in the concrete jungle and all this madness and everything going on, but still have, a great day, enjoy yourself, and have good things happen to you. So, I think that plays a big role. But yeah, that takes a little work too.
You know, outside when it comes to YouTube, outside of surfing YouTube for the things that we all talk about on a daily basis, I like to surf for channels where there are people that they travel in a van or a SUV or RV in their home state, and what they do is they do like filmographies. And I came across this channel where this guy does live in like LA. Now this was prior though to the forest fires, to all the forest fires out there. It was a man just on a freeway and just showing, and I never would think this about LA. You guys have in parts of LA, there are literal communities of homeless people camped out right along the freeway or on the exit ramps.
Oh yeah.
And I
Yep.
never thought, when you think LA, you think extravagant, you think wealth for the most part. Now I know LA is much like Detroit. You got your poor and your rich,
Hmm.
but it was just I was so taken aback. And even up in Oregon, I was
Yep.
so taken aback by all the homeless out there. We certainly have them in Detroit, but my lord, it was
Oh, yeah.
just communities along the freeways in all these deserted old desert towns. I thought it
Mhm.
fascinating and sad all at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, it's trippy like that. And then so that line, I feel like there's a line, between, those situations and other people's I mean, there's different situations out here. You get everything, and but that line of seeing people and that situation we're talking about is getting more visible. Like, yeah, it's just like, wow, you're seeing it all over the place and in places you wouldn't normally see it, and it's there. And they've done cleanups, they've done several cleanups, and it helps. But yeah, no, it's just it's got me on edge for sure, because with a lot of the mental illness, it comes along with
Yeah,
that. And with that, it's just people acting wild. You just got to really watch your back and be safe out there.
absolutely.
Um, mhm. And then,
Yeah,
yeah, and then recently we had the several situations out here, and one of them being the fire situation, as of this year, and that just has thrown a whole other twist to the area here. And yeah, it's just like, wow, what's what's really happening, what's really going on, and just trying to figure that out. It's quite a rabbit hole there.
it is. Oh, and a little off topic, Mr. Dwarf. So
Mhm.
I just want to keep calling you Brown Dwarf. I've known
Hey, you
Brown
call me,
Dwarf for
yeah,
years,
yeah, you call
you
me
know,
Brown,
and
bro.
I'm like, who the hell is this Bigfoot Dwarf the other night when I was watching somebody's show and you happened to be there? But hey, man, hats off to you because T-Bone, well, thank you, by the way, T-Bone, for gifting the memberships, buddy. He noticed, he goes, BMR, it's a cool headband. Well, I got this courtesy of Mr. Dwarf, actually. So
Yeah,
hats
thank
off
you,
to
Rob.
Brown Dwarf. Yeah.
Yeah, showing that support, and yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be. I'm still gonna nab one of your books there, Rob. I
Yeah,
said I was gonna
take
do
your
that.
time, man. They're
Yeah,
not going nowhere. You can find them on Amazon.
yeah,
So
it'll
everybody just
happen.
Bigfoot Mystery Rob on Amazon, everybody. Just click that in
Hey,
your browser.
yeah, plug that
Unlock
in,
the
baby.
headgear. You can't find that on Amazon.
Yeah, you
Right.
cannot. You can't
Yeah.
find this on Amazon.
Yeah, and we'll be getting you that. You know, you requested to for some more, and we're working that out. Eventually,
Yeah,
things will line up
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, man, take your time with that. I know where you're at. At least I got your number, so we're all good.
Mhm. And so, yeah, you know,
So
just being out here, I just been all right. I've been out of. I felt like all right. I'm out of my normal element, which is like the redwoods and the woods out there of NorCal and Southern Oregon. And you know, and then I'm fascinated by the Bigfoot topic, as many of you know, and that was my thing, you know, the Bigfoots, and just being in the areas that they've been in, and you know, going to new places and discovering new things up there is just, yeah, the bug got me. And you know, Tex knows Tex and I have been knowing each other for several years,
yep.
and so we've been at this for quite a while. And but I still feel like, you know, the new guy, one of the new guys and stuff, and or you know, the young guys, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I
you're
heard
younger than
that.
us. Yeah, you're
Let's go
probably
young. You ain't new.
Yeah,
you
right.
ain't new. You've been around. You're younger than me and Tex. We're the old folk around here.
Yeah, and what was it earlier? A good show with Barry.
Oh,
You guys
thanks.
mentioned something about being. Someone said something about the geezers or something like that,
I
right?
said the old geezers. Then I had to apologize because I know most of the people in chat are like in their 50s as well. Everyone to me at 50 and older is an old geezer, whether you're 50 or 75. So
Man,
I'm getting there.
I passed Geezer a long way back. Then.
yeah,
Me and
you
you
done
both
past
were
the
off.
geezer. Yeah, you know. That's why I take naps in the middle of the day now.
Right.
Hey, that's a luxury, man. Enjoy those.
you know.
Those are rare for me. You know what? And really quick, earlier, while we're speaking about the show earlier, I was tuned in. I was hanging out in the chat. You know, I usually do,
Yeah.
and it's always cool to do that. But it's even better to be on with you guys. And what a backup the ladies have to have you guys step up and you know, take over, man. That's super cool.
Well, you know.
Hey,
Thanks for Tex and I were talking about this. We're not just friends. We're great. We're tight friends. All of us. We've been together now for many years,
right on.
and it's just like second nature, like a brother or a sister stand coming to the plate.
I see
It's
that.
funny because this group of people that I roll with are closer than my actual friends I grew up with, and that's weird.
Yeah,
And
trip
for me
out.
to say that is powerful.
Yeah, trip out.
Yep.
And you know, I wanted to mention earlier, so you were explaining a real powerful the dream thing that you were talking about,
Yeah.
that you shared with us, that experience. Wow. You know, that
Yeah.
really got my attention, and I was tripping out on that, man. That was a heavy one there. And
was,
it was uh-huh.
no, go ahead. Continue.
And yeah, what was interesting was that I don't know if I put it all in caps in the chat, but right when you like, it was like the climax of the you telling that over here on the West Coast, it was right at 11:11. So I don't know if you saw, and I don't know if you know, that's the angel number
I
thing,
know
and
what
I don't know
that
if you're
is.
into that and
Yeah.
whatnot, but I thought it was pretty cool that happened, and I took a little screenshot here. Let's see if that'll pop up.
Yeah.
And there's the time at the right,
11.
top right, message
Oh,
there.
Well, no, I got you. 11,
Yeah,
11.
yeah. People could check that later, but I thought, to me it meant something, and you telling that, and it was, I just made a connection there, and I looked at the clock, and it was 11:11. I was like, wow, this is
It,
powerful, man. I got
and
to share that with Rob.
And thank you for that, and it is because you know what? Well, also, and Barry was getting the vibe of my Bigfoot. That's what he got in his head because you know how
I
Barry
heard.
is. But you know what? Another 11:11 incidences. We are doing the late show on a Saturday, and the girls were in. They were doing a live investigation. I think Tex. I think you're right. I think you missed that one. Brent came out later, but Paranormal Paul was wearing the God helmet, and when he got the
yeah.
connection with his grandfather, and Brian Bowden, who joined us, we invited him on to kind of walk through what he was experiencing. When Paul had that experience, Brian showed his phone and it was 11:11. Isn't that
Trip
something?
out.
That is
Yeah,
wild.
so yeah. So something, something to put
Yes,
in the notes.
as Barry would say, food for thought.
There you go. Hey. Yeah, man. So yeah, it's been, and that's how it's been. It's been this wild ride of connections like that, little bits of information that are coming my way, experiences, and connecting with you all online, and then just living this experience, and it's been fun. It's been fun, and there's been some gnarly moments, the pits and peaks, and yeah, we're pushing forward. And so being out here, being out of the element of the woods, I'm like, all right, we're out of a Bigfoot country. I was pretty sad about that, but excited to, start something new here. And my brother and I ended up starting a new business. We've been at it a few years now, but still feels new. But yeah, I've been concentrating on that, and things have been working out on that end. But I'm like, I need to get out into the woods somewhere, or go do something, along the lines of what we're into here, to keep myself, active and stuff. And then it's like you forget how close we have mountain ranges here. And I'm like, oh yeah,
Right.
well, we got the Angeles National Forest here, which isn't far. It's like from the house, maybe like 20-25 minutes with no traffic. And I actually had gone into those mountains before with someone who was Bigfooting the area, and had shown me some real interesting stuff. And if you look into Bigfoot in Southern California, you will find some things. And that's some of the stuff we went through with the other night with Tex. And we actually were discussing a piece of thermal footage that we captured. My nephew had captured, because we had gone to these particular mountains. I had come across a Bigfoot sighting report, or a sighting report, that was submitted to a certain database, and then there was also a channel that featured that case. And so on the channel, I had left a message, and the guy left the message back. And apparently, I think it was the guy who actually had the encounter, which was interesting. And I was trying to get more information from him, and I haven't heard back since. But I decided to take my two nephews and my brother, who my two nephews are about 18 now, and they haven't really been camping or hung out with Uncle Dwarf in the woods. And so I was like, let's get up there, let's go check out this spot. There was a report here in 95. So yeah, it was a while ago. And I love checking out stuff like that, where you get old reports or even current reports. If I'm nearby and I could get to it, I'm gonna go check it out, and see what's going on myself. And so we did that. We did it overnight, and it's about an hour into those mountains, and very beautiful campsite. We got there at night, and actually before getting there, it was weird. We had this highway patrol blocking the highway there, which was kind of weird. It's like highway patrol way up here. Something's going on, and yeah, this car almost went over the cliff, and we had to wait till they cleaned that up. And then highway patrol came over and told us, he's like, "Well, what are you guys doing up? What are you guys going to do up here?" We told them we were going to camp. The campground was right there. And he was mentioning, he's like, you guys be careful and be safe around here, because there's cults up here, and there's been some unalivings and stuff. And we're like, whoa. And we got to record kind of hid the camera and recorded a little bit. Didn't show his face or anything, but we got a little bit of that clip, shared some of that, and it just kind of put a little spice into the night there. It's like, all right, kind of heads up. And we went ahead and set up camp and hit the night. It was nighttime already. We did a little walk around the camp, and my nephew was. They all had a piece of my gear. I didn't have any of my night gear. I just had my camera. And yeah, one of my nephews was getting these hits, and he was recording them. And when we got back to the house the next day, I was going through some of the videos, and he got a few clips of some wildlife. I think some deer and a possible coyote or something like that. And then there was this other clip that was really strange, and it looks like a person at the base of this tree, and it seems to like almost like duck. And I was like, wow, tripping out. I showed it to the guys, and then eventually shared it with certain people that we all know to get their opinions on it. And so yeah, we're reviewing that with text. And yeah, some people, I got feedback from some people thinking that it looked like someone getting in a sleeping bag, which I could see that.
Yeah.
But the boys and all, I agree that we don't think it's that. So we're tripped out by that, and we went back the following weekend to go and try to figure out to see if we'd get another hit and to try and figure out where this tree was to see if there's anything left there, which was a unsuccessful follow-up. But yeah, we're gonna continue going up there. My nephew just asked me recently, and yeah, hopefully we get back up in those mountains and hopefully get some action. But we'll see, because that's where the second fire, the base of those mountains is where the second big fire happened. That's where the Eaton fire happened.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't know exactly what's been affected in those areas. I heard people are going up into the mountains, but yeah, I'm not sure if that particular spot is open now. Excuse me. And then also the season. I think they may close the campground for the season, but there is spots nearby there where you can go. I don't think those things move all around. I think Bigfoot cryptids, they don't. Yeah, maybe they concentrate in one area, but you still got to try to find them in that area if you're looking for them. It's just it could be anywhere. So yeah, hopefully they're still around, and I do believe they're up in that area. There's quite a few documentaries that Eli Watson from STM, has he been on with you guys? Not sure.
No, he was scheduled a long time ago with, I think, the girls, but
All right. Well, he's done quite a few documentaries covering SoCal and Bigfoot and stuff. Really good stuff. And so yeah, there is action out here in Southern California. And so yeah, been doing that. And then other than that, outside of the shop, for some reason, and we've done shows on it. The activity in the skies. There's been still strange stuff going on. It's really calmed down. I think the time that we talked, it was really active. It was like almost a daily thing where these objects were showing up and there was things going on. A lot of that has calmed down. There's still a lot of military activity going by and stuff. So that has me, on alert as well. I don't know if it's a normal thing, but for me, it's just been too frequent. Sometimes it's 3, 4, maybe sometimes it's a single chopper, but sometimes you'll see 3, 4 multiple. It just has this vibe of something's going on. It's just like what's happening out here. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a military activity. I don't know if other people are getting that in their towns, or in their big cities, but I'm seeing it here. So I'm wondering what is happening.
Well, and you can't ever tell, man. I mean, it's. I have to wonder, with all the fires and everything, I have to wonder if they found any, if any of the Bigfoot didn't quite make it, because that's happened on occasion,
hmm Yeah, no,
But
there's been a lot of talks lately. So a lot of information that's been coming my way lately, being out here, is the whole underground LA,
oh,
these
yeah.
tunnels, and also train systems being underground. And so all this underground information has been like I said, coming my way. So I'm like, all right, what's going on underground? And so while I've been out here, there's this whole topic that I've been getting into, it relates to everything that we're into. And it's the topic of the old world, Tartaria.
Mm.
Have you, I'm not sure if you've dove into that whole
I've heard
thing.
of Tartaria. I'm 100% familiar.
Yeah, I like to call it old world. And it's basically one subject of this whole topic is a lot of these old buildings that are around big cities, even small towns. You'll find them, but yeah, there's been a lot of questioning of these buildings, the dates, and who built them, and yeah, theories that these buildings have been around a lot longer than what they're claiming. And there's other structures and other things around these big cities, and it's worldwide. And yeah, so I think it's pointing at a civilization, an older civilization, being here a lot longer that we've been told. And there's been, there's stuff on that. There's talks of Atlantis, and where was Atlantis, and Mu, and these different civilizations. And then also even the, like even getting into the Aztecs, the Olmecs, and them. they have even I seen someone drop a video recently, some sort of connection with these call it Tartarians, the old world and stuff like that. It's very fascinating. And so a lot of this information is starting to come out now. And so a lot of these buildings tend to go underground as well. And it's a fascinating thing. And so it's like, all right, what's really happening underground? And one of the latest topics has been like the catacombs being found under churches and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, another theory is that what happened to all the people that were here that were from those civilizations or from the past.
Right.
Yeah, I guess one thing is that possibly these catacombs could be holding the bones and stuff of all some of these people, and it's just it just keeps going deeper and deeper. But anyway, so Los Angeles has a bunch of these old world buildings. Pasadena, which is very near where the Eaton fire was, has a bunch of these old world buildings as well. And so I'm wondering what is it that they're hiding. There is stuff going on underground. And so another thing that's been coming up is some of the technology that these prior civilizations may have had and stuff like that. And Tex actually mentioned earlier with the show with Barry about I think you guys were talking about like cell phones or something like that, but Tex had mentioned that that some of this technology it wasn't new, like it's been here,
Oh yeah.
and it's slowly like being released back to like the public and stuff like that. And so it just makes you wonder what type of technology was around. And it seems pointing to like some really high technology, and some of these buildings have to do with some of that tech. And it's just really fascinating. But there's the talks of technology, also these airships. So they had possibly flying airships and stuff like that. And so it brings me all back to these like UFOs and stuff. So maybe some of the stuff that we're seeing today could be our technology and some of these corporations that are creating crafts and stuff like that, which I'm sure is happening. And I don't know if it's reverse engineered. There's been a lot of talk about that as well, but it could be that some of these craft could be not only ET or creatures themselves, but maybe they are crafts for some of these older civilizations. Some people talk about maybe it's us from the future and stuff like that. There's different theories and stuff, but it gets me going. But something's definitely underground here.
I
So,
want to. I do.
go ahead.
I
Go
did.
ahead, Russ.
Let's keep on this subject, 'cause I think it's fascinating, especially we talked about earlier what you're saying, Brown. But I do want to answer your one question about from 3 minutes ago when you mentioned really briefly about the military, and then all of a sudden how sometimes some of these Bigfoot they're more prevalent, maybe around during those times of military activity, whether it's airplanes or maybe maneuvers. And you asked if we had in our area, and Texas really didn't have much, and I don't either. But I can tell you this: the Selfridge Air Force Base is about 900 miles north of me, off of close to Lake Huron. And what they do is that's where the base is, and they will put on an annual. They invite the Army and the Marines, they get together, and the Air Force does all the technology, and they set up these war games, if you were, and they do like maneuvers in the forests. And this again is in the Manistee National Forest because it extends from the west side of the state to the east. It's huge. And I just casual online reading, I've seen a lot of people complain about, well, first of all, the noise, and they do simulated like grenades going off, and there's simulated artillery going off. And a lot of people, it seems, that some of the Bigfoot that are in those areas, they get disturbed by that because of the noise, and they tend to migrate further south. And a lot of people have seen more encounters of Bigfoot, Sasquatch when these are going on. It's actually a prime time, if you're a Bigfoot investigator, to camp out 5-6 miles south of Selfridge, because these Bigfoot get all riled up, and then they kind of lose, how they're elusive, not wanting to be seen, but they kind of lose their thought process, if you will, just for a little bit, and they're sometimes more exposed. I wanted to answer that question from earlier, but of course, it's a great show, and you want to talk about the other things we're going to talk about. I'm like, oh, I got to tell Brown that because that doesn't make sense. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting if that's really going on, man, because that's an important piece of data for that
Yeah.
area, you know.
Mhm.
Another thing is that these choppers, I believe they're flying in. I would imagine from the coast. It seems like they maybe go off into the coast because of the direction they're coming. But then I believe they fly over the mountains, these
Mhm.
mountains that I'm telling you about, because over the mountains is where some of these bases are. I think it's Edwards Air Force Base, if I'm not mistaken. But
Mhm.
um, and what's interesting on Texas show, I was talking about the BFRO and their database and how Humboldt County has the most reports, submitted reports in that database, but Los Angeles at the same time had a whole lot. I think they're at almost 20 reports, which is pretty high compared to all the other counties. And a lot of those reports were actually older reports, and a lot of them were from the Palmdale, Lancaster area where these bases are. And yeah, you hear the reports of them being around bases, UFOs as well is another thing that happens a lot around bases. And yeah, the cryptid thing seems like a thing. But yeah, no, that was back in the like late 60s, 70s. So it's calmed down since then. And could it be that, yeah, maybe more people are living in the area, the geography maybe has changed. I don't know. Less water being in the area could be a factor as well, I would
Oh,
imagine.
absolutely.
But yeah, no, there was all that going on there. And but back in the inner city. So yeah, I don't know this all these strange. And so I've gone out with a couple UFO groups. A friend of mine put me on, and yeah, we've gone out and done the C5 thing and everything, and I believe it works. We've done meditations, and things appear. So yeah, I think there's a mixture of different objects and stuff, and some of these objects could be actual entities as well. And I believe it ties into, once again, having this realm, so I point out the old world because it'll, if you get into that topic, it'll help open your eyes a little bit more to this reality we're in. And so, yeah, it has to do because when you get into the old world, there's these old maps, and these old maps depict
Mm.
different land masses, different names for the land masses. And what's interesting in some of these maps, you'll find, I guess you could call them cryptids. There's these different types of cryptids, and there's these Bigfoot-like ones as well that you could find, and which is fascinating. And of course, the giants come up. And so with the UFOs, the giants, and all this stuff, Catalina Island comes to mind.
Oh yeah.
And so that's been popping up. And we went out there recently and had, I love to record as much as possible, try to capture something. And just knowing that Catalina Island is a hotspot, we did capture a little something on the way, a little orb-like object. And I try to hit the museum to try to find out about the giants, but apparently they didn't have anything about giants in there. So just a heads up, if you ever go to Catalina and try to find anything on that, it's they say they don't have anything on there about that, which I found pretty trippy. And yeah, so all that I think
Wouldn't a giant stand out like a sore thumb on Catalina Island?
possibly, yeah,
Now
yeah,
there
yeah,
could be
for sure.
things from the past, like you're
But,
talking about
but
bones and,
then,
and relics.
yeah, I guess depending on how tall you are, I mean, yeah, I don't know. And even speaking of once again, the old world, there's this casino structure at Catalina that we
Mhm.
believe is from the old world. And I've heard some interesting stories for even a recent friend of mine who has witnessed objects underwater there. He used to I guess snorkel there a lot as a kid and stuff, and had some really weird underwater experiences out there in Catalina.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think all this, it seems like all these topics, all these things are coming together for me. And so I've been keeping myself active out here, visiting a lot of these buildings, checking them out. And yeah, it's just a lot of the information is it's hitting on key for me. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's just again what is happening right now. And so we had recently the fog and all this all these strange plane activity going on is something I've been paying attention to, because right here at the shop, outside of the shop, we get LAX traffic, and so a lot of low flying planes, and yeah, I've been hearing about all these plane incidences and crashes, and even some with fatalities and stuff. And here also in LA in particular, there's a airport not too far that has just been back to back airplane crashes there throughout the years. And I'm wondering, possibly, is there something underground there? Because it just seems right around that airport, they just all this weird plane failure and plane crashes is just like, yeah, is it something maybe underground there or something above the sky? I don't know, but it seems like a little strange to me. So yeah, been doing these live streams lately and just touching on these topics that I've been having in mind.
And you were mentioning about the fog in that area because I've been reading some stuff on LA. Obviously, was following it quite a bit more than usual with what was been going on. But correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't they saying that this? Okay, I'm going to say fog, not smog. You mentioned the jet airliners, and it's always confused. Smog and fog is different, right? But they were saying they noticed that a lot of that fog in the LA area wasn't natural,
Yeah,
right?
and
Am I
and it,
reading that correctly?
yeah, and the thing is, it wasn't even not only LA. It seemed to have been all over the place, and that was around New Year's. The one that I experienced, where I heard a lot of people talking about it from different parts of the world, that they were getting the fog that same night, which is really weird. And some interesting information has come up. If you look up, strange fog, some interesting information does come up. Something about biological stuff that's not good for us, parasites and different weird things, and causing sickness, and yeah, just really strange stuff. So been keeping an eye on that. And also another thing, speaking of that, you mentioned smog and fog and uh all that, is the spraying that's been going on in the skies, and that's been happening here for a long time, but it's almost daily, and it's obvious. So I've been paying attention to that. You can't miss it if you're looking at the planes or the sky. You also notice this other activity going on, and it's quite alarming as well. So you got the military, this spraying of who knows what. People have information out there. You could look into it. Uh, yeah, it's like, and then so when you get into these different topics, there's certain information there, and you could even include the fires with all this stuff.
Sure.
Um, yeah, you start. It's almost like a puzzle starts coming together, and we're just getting started with it. But yeah, I don't know. It's really weird, and I'm just like, all right, just watching, staying aware, because again, going back to the people and just the situation out here, a lot of people aren't. Everyone's caught up, the 9 to 5, the rat race, trying to stay alive, trying to do this and that. So there's not too many of us focusing on these things. So yeah, I just feel like I'm doing myself, a favor by paying attention to this, because I don't know. I feel like more stuff is coming our way, and then just keeping the people out there, whoever's listening, alert as well. What's happening in my side of the world, and I like to hear what's going on in your world as well. So yeah.
So somebody asked earlier to mention the dragons.
Yeah, okay, maybe was T-Bone, and that's another one of these objects that and these UFO objects that we've been capturing, and these are very, very common. Um, if you could find an object, an airplane, anything, a balloon, a helicopter, flying by, try recording it for at least a minute if you can, and then go back through that video and see if you notice anything. And yeah, because we're getting these orb like objects around here, and so I was recording these things, and then I started noticing these other objects zipping by, which at first I thought they were bugs. And then looking a little further, they didn't move like your typical bugs. At times they do, And even at times they did look like bugs because they had what looked like wings. But yeah, apparently, I guess I don't know how it was. I maybe at one of these UFO groups I found out, and I heard there was this guy out here nearby in Marina del Rey, California, which is right on the coast, who really like was really into these things. And I eventually found this channel, and yeah, this guy really focuses on these objects, and they seem to be almost like reconning anything that flies by. So like pretty much it's almost like a 80 almost 90% chance you'll capture these things. And I don't know if it has to do with the area you're in, but right here and then other people that are capturing these things are getting them constantly. And so the guy's channel, if anyone's interested, is Custodian Files, and he's
Okay.
been on SOR before, and yeah, that's his thing. And yeah, something's up with these objects as well. There's definitely something going on with these things, and they are fast, and they sometimes they look like your typical saucer shaped UFO, and then sometimes they change their shapes. Yeah, and another thing was that during the fires, I don't know if you all noticed the UFOs that people were spotting during the live recordings, like Fox and different news
Yeah.
channels were recording the fires, and people were spotting these UFOs going by. And there was a few videos that I seen that were really good. I seen one that looked like maybe some AI might have been involved, but the other ones that I seen were like screen captures of live Fox or different channel feeds,
Right.
and these objects were definitely going by. And so another thing, so while we're talking about custodian file, Dr. Robert Sheep, he excuse me, focused also on Malibu, which is a little bit north of from where he is, and which is right next to the Palisades, where the Palisades fire, right?
Yep.
Right.
He was talking about the base off Malibu coast. So the people have talked about this ET base being off the Malibu coast, and you could look that up. And I heard that supposedly, I guess you can't Google map it anymore, is what Robert was
Really?
saying. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, no, but I was able to find some articles on it that have a little like a looks almost like a little lidar map, and so yeah, there it looks like something's out there, and people have talked about it. And then also right next to the Palisades, you got Topanga Canyon, which is a road that gets you through the canyons there, and Preston Dennett, who's well known in the UFO scene, has written
Yeah.
several books of all the UFO activity out of right there. So there's a lot of UFO and possible ET stuff going on. I don't know, a possible base they're talking off the coast of Malibu, and this is right next to the Palisades. Okay. And there's also this interesting case out of the Palisades, and this is a few years back, of this man who was found dead in his car. He was there for several weeks, and apparently this man's wife was saying that he was a ET hybrid, and they found like all types of guns in his house. It was over like 1,000, over 1,200 guns, and I don't know, like
Jeez.
a bunch of ammunition. He had a
Holy
bunch of
crap.
cash. Yeah, there was a bunch of cash, and his background was like pretty much a mystery. He didn't have any record of like where he worked and stuff, and it was just like this mystery guy. And they said the wife said he was some sort of alien hybrid working with possibly the government. And so yeah, you could look that up. Look up a Palisades hybrid ET. You know what you got to put in that search engine, and you'll get this story. And I found that pretty fascinating, having the Palisade situation happen, these UFOs going by during the fire, the activity here outside of the shop, all these little things, coming back. And another thing is that over at the Eaton fire, which is back at the base of these mountains, that fire got really close because Pasadena and Altadena are, right next to each other. And that's Pasadena is where you have NASA JPL, the facility there. And the fire got really close to that facility as well, didn't burn. And also the Getty Museum was another interesting one that also didn't burn. Flames got really close to it. The fire got, I think, even burned some of the brush around the area. It looked like the place burned, but it didn't burn. And there's interesting things that I've heard about the Getty, and once again underground. It gets really dark, and so yeah, that pops up, and then so NASA JPL, that's a whole wormhole there because that ties back to Jack Parsons, and then Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard, and their Babylon workings and what they were doing out there in Pasadena. And it's just another thing that pops up when I'm thinking and experiencing all this. It's just like it keeps coming in my world, like, hey, NASA, JPL, Parsons, that, so it's in my notes, and hopefully soon we get to go check it out. There's Devil's Gate Dam where Parsons was doing some sort of experiments, and then they were obviously blowing up rockets and stuff like that, but then it gets into the occult, and that's where I believe Crowley and L. Ron Hubbard get involved as well. And yeah, it's a very interesting story behind Parsons and that whole NASA JPL. And NASA also, that facility there, I think that's where Warner von Braun was part of that whole NASA group there, and who he's tied to and stuff. So a lot of that going on out here, not to mention the stuff going on in Hollywood, which is pretty dark right now. I mean, you can go either which way, with the occult and all that. So it's very, very interesting place to be in right now. And I'm just like, oh man, I'm ready to hit back to the wood.
Hollywood is always interesting to visit a decade or so ago, but now it's even more weirder, if you can even say, if there's such a word, or if you can even say that about Hollyweird, as they say.
Oh yeah.
Really, I want to ask you really briefly before we get into these other awesome topics you're bringing up. Everyone subscribe to Brown Dwarf's channel. Is it the Bigfoot Dwarf, your channel?
Yes, I think that's why I switched it to Bigfoot Dwarf, because Brown Dwarf, if you pull, you put that in the search engine, a bunch of the celestial object, which is cool.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I got the name. But no, Bigfoot Dwarf, I think will really help pull up the channel right away. So that's one of the reasons why. So my handle is still Brown Dwarf 4200, but yeah, Bigfoot Dwarf, I think will help bring the channel up a lot easier.
Okay, awesome. It must have been changed. I've been subscribed, so I didn't recognize if it got changed to that. I did have to ask, because you mentioned Catalina Island. Isn't that well known for, I don't know if is it called the USO, but the underground,
underwater
submerged objects? Yes, yeah, and that's
There's
the thing.
A lot of that, is there not?
Yeah, because it's you're in the ocean, and the Channel Islands is also known for a lot of heavy UFO activity. USO. And yeah, that's what you expect. I was ready with the camera right there, waiting like on the boat ride over and back. I was just ready for something to pop out of the water and hopefully capture that. But yeah, we've seen some strange things along the way. Could have been planes. It was a little difficult to record them, but yeah, no, we got video of some stuff, and it could be orbs. It looked like orbs and stuff. But yeah, now off of Malibu, my brother and I did go one night after closing the shop here, and went to go skywatch, and we did capture and see some orange orbs off in the water there. And so yeah, and it looks like they were coming out of the water. The only thing is that I couldn't get that great footage, but you could see these little lights that look orangey and kind of floating up. And it looks like possibly a fishing vessel, but they weren't. They were floating up and disappearing and stuff. And so yeah, they weren't your normal planes either. And yeah, I want to get better with the flight tracker, apps and stuff like that, just to confirm, satellites and known flying objects.
So why do you think y'all have so much activity over there as far as the I mean, we know about the Bigfoot stuff, but as far as the
everything else, I think it has to do with somehow the old world, this what's already been here, and so there's something here, and there's been talks about the lizard people also of LA underground, supposedly, that there was these they say it's lizard people, but I think it's, from what I've read, it was ancient culture, once again, old world, that lived under LA, and there's these caverns in the shape of like a dragon of some sort that's all under Los Angeles. and that these people revered, they were humans, but that they revered the dragon for some reason. So were dragons around. Um, and yeah, they had this cavern system that they lived under, and I forget, I don't know the reason why they were living under there. Maybe there was some sort of happenings, because there's a lot of stories like that where there's some sort of catastrophe going on and people have to go underground, right? So sounds like something along those lines. But yeah, I think, and then so I think the story gets kind of mixed up, and people mention about actual lizard people living under LA. So yeah,
Well,
I think
I remember hearing back in the day that California actually sat on a shelf. There's like a massive freaking cave system that was dug out almost under all of California.
wow.
And that if and when the big one hits at San Andreas Fault, that California is in danger of just sliding off into the ocean.
Right. Yeah, no, and I've heard of that, that we're gonna become an island again. And I say again because going back to some of these old world maps, and again, they could be, real, maybe fake. Now with AI, everything is a go. But yeah, there's some of these maps that we've seen that they depict California as an island.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Oh,
pretty trippy.
from these maps you were talking about from these other
Yeah.
worlds.
Yeah. So it's were we an island before, and
Or will we be?
another thing, yeah, the people is also like, all right, we talk about these different cultures that have been out here as well, and what I've been finding out more also is that there's been melanated people here in the Americas before slavery, and it's something that they don't, it's not mentioned, and you got to dig for this information, and it's out there. And even the name California, it's I believe she was a melanated god, like a goddess. And yeah, interesting. So yeah, look into the name California and find out who she is.
California is interesting. And yeah, even when I was a kid growing up, I heard rumors of California, part of it falling off into the ocean. And I
Hmm.
saw some interesting videos, much like the Great Lakes, especially Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan homeowners there have lost it once they had, let's say you had 400 feet of coastline and maybe your house sat back, 50 yards. That's eaten up from the erosion into the from the waves, right? If just hitting it and pounding and pounding. I can
Mm.
only imagine in Malibu with the ocean, and I've seen the same pictures. A lot of people in Malibu losing their property and their frontage. Their houses are getting closer. In fact, I've seen some video, correct me if I'm wrong, that some houses literally have slipped into the ocean already.
Oh yeah, it's possible. I wouldn't doubt it, and especially with these rains that we're getting now. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's going to be quite a bit of movement there, and we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's a trip. So I feel like, yeah, people have found even stuff along the coast pertaining to the old world, and it's like, I
Mm.
don't know. I'm feeling like maybe something is there that they wanted. Someone wanted maybe something in that area, and that's why whatever happened in these particular areas where we recently had these disasters. I don't know. It just all seems kind of weird to me. There's been a lot of information from people that were, residents and stuff, and they just, you could hear it from them, and the stuff that they're saying, and it's just like,
I've got to believe there's ancient civilizations from the past that are beneath the ocean today. Everyone talks about Atlantis all the time. That's the most popular one. I've got to believe that there's many more civilizations, however you want to call it, throughout all of the oceans, north, south, east, and west of the United States. There has to be,
definitely,
especially
yeah.
way back in ancient times.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and I think the more we dig, the more people dig, the more we're gonna find, and in all sense too. If you dig for information, but yeah, if you literally go out there and dig in dirt and stuff, I'm sure you'll start finding some stuff. Especially if you're in a good spot. And which brings me to Mud Fossils University. Robert, I forget his last name, but a YouTuber.
Mhm.
And yeah, he does some fascinating work having to do with like geology, and that it might be these creatures and giants and stuff like that. And he says he's done DNA testing on some of the objects he's had, and that yeah, it comes back to like blood, and yeah, it could be. And I totally see how yeah, you could uh, the way he thinks, and the way the information he's saying. I feel it, I see it, and it's very possible, and then a lot of it tying back to like biblical stuff, some possible confirmation on things there, and yeah, really fascinating work that he's doing. But yeah, no, and at the same time, I've also been trying to get back up north as much as possible. So we did a couple trips this last year, went up to Bluff Creek, and the year before that as well, and got to hook up with some of the guys and get out into the field. And yeah, we actually did some minor cleanup around the Patterson Gimlin site area. The guys were doing some cleanup around there, and just having it nice and ready for whoever wants to come visit. But yeah, no, we did several nights of bigfooting and daytime stuff as well. And yeah, it was very interesting. Got some strange audio. The guys were hearing stuff, and yeah, it really leads me to believe that they're around in the area still. Actually, there's a couple of guys. They're known as Bigfoot Wilderness Research, and they're starting to kick off their little YouTube channel there, and it's hopefully it keeps growing. But they're capturing really good stuff. They've been yeah, really Bigfooting up all up around that area. And a couple years back, they were actually featured recently on the Small Town Monsters documentary. What was it? The Lost Bigfoot Highway. And yeah, they got these just really nice trackway in the snow, and some really nice prints. And that particular road there is the road that gets you up into Bluff Creek, or to the Patterson site. And there's been quite a bit from that road from the past. Bobo shared some stories on that documentary, and recently I heard from someone that they just had some really good activity from around that area too. So things are still happening around there for sure. And yeah, we just try to get up there as much as possible. There's cameras that the Bluff Creek Project guys service and stuff too. A lot of wildlife still in the area, and yeah, no, things have been pretty good there. I actually came back with some weird orb footage on one of my game cams, and that's right in the one of the campgrounds, Louse Camp. That's a well-known campground. Usually, most people stay at that campground when you go into Bluff Creek. And that campground has a lot of history too, of some like weird paranormal stuff, people hearing voices, a few like ghost type sightings as well. So trippy campground there. And of course, not to, can't forget the Bigfoot that are around. People get vibes there too, like being watched. And yeah, a lot of stories come out of Louse Camp. And yeah, so we've got this weird little orb floating around. And of course, it was one of those things I couldn't check till I got back home, so it wasn't until later. If I would have known that was happening there, I would have probably spent the night at that spot just to see what would happen, or what's going on back there with those orbs.
Speaking of ghost towns, there's got to be a lot of ghost towns throughout where you live.
Oh yeah, no, LA is full of, for the paranormal. LA is a hot spot. And again, another thing about these old world buildings is that a lot of them are haunted. And so it's something about them that have this, maybe it's what people have passed in there, I don't know. Or is it that the energy, because some of these buildings are thought to have produced free energy, possibly. Some of them are believed to have been places of healing. There was these different instruments in there, like giant bells and organs and stuff. And they say that these things would ring or play at a certain frequency that would heal people. And oh yeah, the Cecil Hotel. Yep, the Cecil Hotel. And I wonder, I got to check the date on that one. I wonder if that's an old worlder. But yeah, that's just right down the way here. And you guys all know the Cecil, the Lisa Lamb case. That was another strange one. That's one of those things that happened out here. and right down the way here, and I hear it's up for sale again, and
Of course.
yeah, right. And it was actually for low income housing, so they had all these people that weren't doing too well living up in there, so a lot of you know dark activity going on in there as well. And yeah, there's been some good YouTubers that have done some good investigations there. And yeah, maybe we'll go check it out soon and see what's going on. The last time we went, I tried going inside of it, but the door was locked. I think you need to know someone who maybe lives in there or something who could let you in. But yeah, there was security up front, and the doors were locked, so I couldn't get in. But I will if I can.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
actually,
know
So-
you'd make your way in. You figure it out.
Tex.
I was going to ask you, since you've been to the Bluff Creek area so much, and I know you're talking about the orb and everything.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen any like do you ever do any sky watching while you're out there and seeing?
Yeah,
anything?
definitely. So that's I think that's one of those things that come like hand in hand with all this. Uh and it's funny because I guess some guys will just focus on Bigfooting. But yeah, I'm doing everything. I'm looking out for Bigfoot and looking out for strange stuff in the skies because maybe there could be a correlation with the two, right? So yeah, I'm always kind of sky watching when I'm out Bigfooting if I could see. And yeah, no, it's definitely, so 'cause sometimes Bigfooting could get boring, and if nothing's happening, it's always good that you could switch gears and switch to
Right.
sky watching, or people that do the paranormal, as well. And I say it like it's separate, but for me, it's all kind of together. Bigfooting, paranormal, ghosts,
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
It's all, I'm keeping an eye out for anything like that when I'm out Bigfooting. So it's all one to me.
Yeah, we all talk about it all the time. I think they're all connected. And if you're looking out for one thing, don't be so surprised if you come in and find something else.
Oh yeah. And yeah, man, it's just yeah, I think people should definitely check their skies. Check your skies, even though may not feel like anything's going on, but check because there's quite a bit going on. And we had, that drone situation in Jersey, which was pretty strange.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
y'all didn't y'all didn't have all that stuff happening down in California?
Yeah, well, not here in Los Angeles, but
Which is
try
odd.
out on this. I have had strange drones fly outside of the shop, and it could have been civilian. I don't know. But no, I think it's during that time, during the Jersey drone situation, there was sightings in like Temecula, which is south of here, more towards San Diego. People were getting sightings and stuff and reports out of
Right.
there. And but here, I think people would be just too used to maybe normal drones or just all the air traffic that they wouldn't even pay attention. But yeah, I didn't really see too much coming out of here, but there were some.
So when you've been out to Bluff Creek, and I guess it's kind of like going to the Cowboy Stadium. Everybody takes their picture in the star. But when you go out to Bluff Creek, have you ever do they like have the place marked where Patty was? I mean, the pass you took or anything like that, where they were
Yeah, well,
standing
once you get down, once you get down, so you can't really tell. There's nothing really there until you get to this particular tree. And recently, my buddy Rowdy Kelly left a little sign there with like an arrow pointing down the road. And even once you go down the road, yeah, it's hard to find. I would recommend going with someone who knows, but there's people that have gone up there and figured it out, but yeah, it's a little difficult, I think, for the first time or even a few times. It takes a few times. It took me several times actually to get to know the certain roads and how to get there exactly and all that. And then yeah, once you get down, there's a point, they call it the berm, where you used to be able to continue driving down, but now there's a huge rock slide there, and you can't drive any further. And that's where you ascend down, you hike down. And that's that hike that also keep in mind on the way, you're going to have to come up. So that's a kick in the butt there, that hike back up. So
right.
just a heads up. but it is possible, you know, especially if you're not if you're not the best hiker, you just take it little bit at a time, you know, just take your time and yeah, you'll make it up for sure.
So you don't suggest going down there with a walker?
Yeah, no, 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 no. It used to, I think back in the day, Roger and Bob were able to drive to like a certain point, which is a lot closer. It would cut all that hike out. But yeah, no, a lot of stuff's overgrown since then. And like I said, the Bluff Creek Project guys do a really good job of like doing like a maintenance, you know, along the way, the
Yeah.
trails and stuff like that. And so, because it'll just get eaten up, and yeah, you know, people have claimed to have had certain things happen down there in the site area, and you definitely feel like sometimes like something might be around here, you know. But no, I don't think, you know, for the most part they're probably not there anymore, like in that exact site area, but in and around the areas there for sure. I think they are still around.
You know,
So
Go
what is the
back.
what's the best? I'm sorry, Rob. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, text. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, what's the best thing you've ever had happen when you was out there?
Yeah. So I've there's been several times where so Jonathan Easley, he's from Western Bigfoot Explorations on YouTube. Him and I for some reason always tend to link up, and we've been doing this for years up there, and even when we get sometimes we'll, depending on how many people are up there, we'll break up into teams and stuff like that. And for some reason I always end up on Jonathan and I always end up together, which yeah, we make a great team. And yeah, we've captured quite a bit of audio, you know. It's after some wood knocks, or you know, actually Jonathan, he didn't knock that time, but he actually uses a what is it, it's a drumstick, and it's like not like a plastic bell. I forget, there's a term for this instrument, but it makes a perfect, like this perfect wood knock sound. And so he uses that instead of beating on a tree. You know, a lot of people frown on the on hitting on a tree. And also you could maybe be disturbing the elementals inside the tree there.
Yeah.
Just a heads up. You don't want to piss those off.
What I love
And
about you, Brown, is we can talk for like 20 hours. You
oh
know.
yeah, for sure. What's the timing like? Are we done?
No, we're not done. We're not. Well, no, we're not done at all. But it's just awesome where we're going all over the place because I got
Oh
so many
yeah.
different things to ask you, and I know Tex does. And I did want to ask you about Humboldt for a minute. You know,
Yeah,
that's
go for it.
back in the day. That's maybe probably current day even. You know, with the marijuana farms, and we hear all these
Mhm.
stories about the missing people in Humboldt.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of it is allegedly done by the criminal activity,
Mhm.
and a lot of them say that Sasquatch has also been known to ravage these farms for these folks, and
Yeah.
it's even alleged that some of these growers know about Sasquatch and plant or make their fields knowing they're there to keep people away. Is that kind of just myth and lore, or is that something you believe goes on? Because I certainly know people do go missing, or they used to out
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
Humboldt.
yeah. Yeah, no, it still happens. People do go missing up there quite a bit. Actually for California, it was like number one for quite a long time. I think that statistics. And a lot of it had, yeah, to do with the, you know, the cannabis scene, and just with that, there was other little scenes not having to do with cannabis also that were going
I
on.
wasn't just, singling out the cannabis people, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm
No,
just
no, no,
little.
no. But no, a lot of it had to do with that. You know, anywhere there's money, there's gonna be those elements as
Yeah.
well. So, um, yeah, no, I've heard of like different stories, but not quite as like intense to where they were like guarding a garden or anything like that.
Right,
But
yeah.
no, people having like activity and stuff like that, near their or on their properties. Um, there was actually a documentary that was put out called Sasquatch, and I think that was on Hulu, and that was in on the border of Mendocino County and Humboldt County. And it's actually a Spy Rock Road is a back road that will take you to where we were, which was the M Mountain, you know, the M Mountain documentary that came out. Murder Mountain.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that'll lead you to that area, which is interesting. So the Spy Rock Road will take you back through there, and that's like, yeah, the back. um, and so the Sasquatch came up because it was people were thinking it was a Bigfoot that had tore up 3 guys at this farm, and yeah, it came that it was this guy in the area named Bigfoot Gary. So I don't know if people
Mhm.
seen that one. Kind of
Yeah.
spoiler alert there, but
Yeah. Don't
but
call
yeah,
me
there's
Bigfoot.
yeah, so there's that. So just a little heads up if you watch that. But yeah, no, you've heard, there's growers that have had experiences. I've heard stuff from growers, but nothing off the bat that was like, whoa, that I can remember. I'm sure after I get off of here, then stuff will start popping up. But you definitely hear stuff from the growers and locals and stuff like that. I mean, up there, it's like the Sasquatch is they are the locals. So
Right.
yeah.
So I know it very rarely gets even mentioned in that area. But what do you hear anything about Dogman up there?
Not much. So not much, but what's interesting is that and I'm sure we're probably going to start hearing stuff cuz I'm starting to hear more stuff out of Oregon.
Mm.
And speaking of that, right at the border of pretty much Oregon and California there above Humboldt County, we were mentioning earlier this today I was doing a live stream about mushroom pickers that go missing and you know how it
Right.
may tie to the 411 phenomenon and all that. And some cases were in Del Norte County and the rest were in like southern Oregon, but that Del Norte, that's where Pelican Bay is, to give people an idea. People usually will know where Pelican Bay is, but when you say Del Norte, they're like, where? Del Norte. Um, there's a Redwood State Park there. And that Redwood State Park, actually, Jonathan Easley, who I mentioned earlier, and Alex
Mhm.
Pedikov, in the beginning of one of Alex's recent documentaries from Bluff Creek, they took the redwoods into the Bluff Creek area. Actually, yeah, yep, they did that. And then I think that was for the second one, the Lost Bigfoot Highway. Sorry. And so they went in from the redwoods, which is the Redwood State Park, into the Bluff Creek area. And so the Redwood State Park there, it's called the what's the name of it? It'll come to me. But anyway, there's a state park there and there was a supposed dogman report with pictures out of there. And this was, I want to say, maybe 6 years back. And there were several YouTubers who covered it. And the picture was interesting. Of course, it's of course, like the Bigfoot kind of blurry and it's a dark.
Right.
You can see it looks like a dark cutout of what you think a dogman, like a dogman silhouette. And yeah, it's pretty weird to have that happen, or if that really happened, to have it at that particular park there that's up in the redwoods. So, and I can't believe I can't remember the name of the park. It's in the tip of my tongue. It'll come up in a bit.
And you mentioned the redwoods is funny because I just remember this thumbnail I did. You were on like last year, I believe, and I did a thumbnail when you were coming on, and it was you in front of this redwood, this tree, and I got a part of me does want to visit California just because I'm intrigued not only by the beauty, but also the weirdness in LA. Because I'd like to go to like the Viper Room. I want to
Yeah,
talk. I want to talk to you about that really quickly.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. We will.
the here's brown dwarf. I don't know how big or tall you are. It doesn't matter if you're 6'5" and 300 pounds. You're by this tree. I can't the enormity. You were literally a dwarf, man.
Or
There's
yeah,
like 20 dudes could probably stand around one of those trees. Are they
yep.
really that big?
They're
Because
really that.
it's hard to see on looking at a picture is one thing, but to be there and see it, are they really that expansive?
Yep, especially if you find, the old growth ones, and that's it's a sad thing too, because not too many are left. A lot of them were cut,
Yeah.
and but yeah, some of them are huge, and it makes you wonder how big maybe those trees were back in the day. Maybe they were even bigger. But yeah, they are that big, Rob, and I recommend you guys coming up to check them out. And those are easy, like some of those trees are easy to get to. You could go off the
Yeah.
side of the road on some of them and
You
check them
drive
out.
through some of them.
Yeah. Yep. You could drive through some of them. Don't forget to give them a hug.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Sorry
and
if
then,
we did this to you.
yeah. And I remember the state park now. The file's been downloaded. It's Jedediah State Park up in Del Norte County. So if you're interested in the case, check out a Dogman sighting or Dogman report, Jedediah State Park, Del Norte, California. And so, what's up? Viper Room? You want to go to the Viper Room yet?
I'm in true Texas.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I got to hear about the Viper Room.
Yeah, we have it. That's supposed to be very haunted. I don't know if it's closed down. I heard it's closed down, though, to be honest with you. And I could be wrong. But we all have heard about, a lot of Hollywood well-knowns passed away inside or outside the clubs. The most popular one was River Phoenix.
Yep.
And then Johnny Depp was, I think, maybe
owner.
Part owner. Was that correct?
Yep.
And they had a secret room, from what I allegedly hear, in the Viper Room, where all these Hollywood folks where it was really got freaky and paranormal-ish, or if that's even a word, right? So regardless of that, though, is that really one of the top attractions when it comes to the paranormal down in Hollywood?
No, I've never really heard actually the Viper Room being a spot like that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay.
You have that River Phoenix situation. I think that really and he unfortunately passed away outside of the Viper Room. I think it was right on Sunset.
Yep.
So I think just that happening there, definitely I would feel it would leave a mark there, and him being who he was and the way it happened. I'm sure you could, I wouldn't be surprised if paranormal investigators have gone there, and you could probably, maybe it's a thing we could do too. I don't know if people are using those little boxes and stuff like that. Maybe it'd be something to try out there.
Yeah.
But
no.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's other places that I've heard.
I was about to say, if not the Viper Room, that rings a bell for me because I heard about the secret room about the Viper Room. I saw it on some documentary. So I want to know if you heard about that. But yeah, what about? Well, Hollywood is full of paranormal. So what's some of the venues that are?
A bunch on Hollywood Boulevard. I've done some live streams going into some of these. A lot of them are the hotels, the older hotels. They're there, like the Roosevelt and stuff. And going back to the Viper Room, actually, I lived really close for a while. I used to live in the west side of Hollywood on Sunset Strip, right? There used to be a Tower Records, if anyone remembers those stores.
I remember.
Yeah, and so right up where the Tower Records used to be, Horn Street, right up that hill. And that was just a few blocks from the Viper Room. And then obviously you have the Whiskey A Go-Go, and several other, all those clubs right there on Sunset. So I spent quite a bit of time there, got to know quite a few people, well-known people. Never got invited to no Diddy parties.
Well, good.
Yeah. I don't think I would have gone anyway. Not my flavor. But you hear of all that stuff going on and different things like that for sure. But they say a lot of the paranormal stuff actually happens on Hollywood Boulevard. A lot of those hotels there and theaters as well. A lot of the theaters on the boulevard are haunted. And that's more on the mainstream level there. But other than that, there's a lot of haunted places downtown. Again, the Cecil, and actually there's a well-known paranormal historian from LA who actually says that it's not the Cecil's that's the most haunted. It's this other one called the Barclay Hotel. And I actually went to go check that one out, did a little live stream, was able to get inside there and was just checking out the lobby. No one was around and it was pretty creepy. And then eventually security did pop up and I asked him a few questions and he confirmed that, he's had strange stuff happen in there for sure. But he had some positive words to say too. I think he had to say those words so it wouldn't scare the rest of his shift, but yeah, it was nice that he shared those words and didn't cause any trouble with me, and yeah, went about my way. But yeah, didn't have anything happen in there, but you can definitely feel the vibes in those places.
I would have to think that the Hollywood vibe scene itself it's just a different vibe than like anywhere else.
Oh yeah, and they say it's dying, the whole like the industry right now with
Yeah.
AI and stuff, and it is just really changing a lot of things out here. You could see it. Yeah, like I don't even walk the boulevard. I just do it to I did it just to kind of live stream and
Yeah.
show people what Hollywood is like now. But yeah, it's always been changing. And yeah, it's always like, yeah, and Hollywood was never really like it's had its glory days, and then after that it just turned like crazy, all types of weird and strange stuff going on, and crazy people on the street, and yeah, poor Hollywood.
Yeah, well, poor Hollywood, and I think, I don't want to get into the whole Hollywood thing. I think a lot of that was done by themselves. You
Oh
remember
yeah.
the glory days of Hollywood with all the like glamorous actors, according to like my parents,
Hmm.
the black and whites, all the older
Yeah,
people. And now you said AI is taking over, and half these Hollywood guy types are doing things on Netflix. I mean, they don't even, there's 2 movie theaters within an 8-mile radius of me that are out of business because they don't sell tickets at the movies. Everyone watches at home or
that
streams
sucks.
something, which is where they're going.
Mhm.
And which is, it is what it is. The times are changing.
Yep.
The times are
and
certainly
and
changing.
Yeah, and you guys are on it. I think that this is it right here. What people are getting into now is listening to stuff like this and checking things out like this. And so, yeah, good job. You guys are on board.
Yeah. I wish we would have got involved like 10 years ago, though, when it really was like nobody was out there doing it.
Yeah, well,
But I love it anyway. It don't matter to me. We have a good time. A lot of great friends, great audience, people in chat, people listening are all awesome people. It's a great way to meet people. I've met more people through the internet, literally, than walking the streets.
oh yeah,
Not that I
yeah.
walk the streets, of course.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I'm with you on that. And yeah, I mean, we've met, so this is
Yeah,
cool, and I
it's
can't wait to
awesome.
meet you in person. And Tex, I did hear you mention. And yeah, salute to you guys for the conference. That looks major. The flyer looks amazing. The lineup is off the hook.
So you are going.
And hey, Tex, if hey, I don't know, we'll see. We could work things out. Maybe I gotta figure out a deal with one of these objects to get me there, or maybe there's a portal
There you
somewhere
go.
around here
There you go.
Maybe
underground.
there's a portal, but Tex said something earlier, which I stand by. Why are you guys advertising the crap out of this? We started advertising this before Christmas. The
Yeah.
ghost hunt was sold out at Christmas. The reason why we do it so early is to get it out there. We're marketing. It's marketing, but it gives you enough time to plan and save. Not everybody can just drop,
Hmm.
money in their car and go to St. Louis, depending where you live. So you plan it out, $10 a week in the savings account, you might be able to go. You never know.
Yep.
I'm just talking about travel. Travel is what kills everybody.
Yeah.
That's the big expense, and any going out of your state, especially if you have to fly.
Yep. Yeah, it's not easy. So yeah, support. That's why support. I mean, and we want to be able to provide, content and events
Yeah,
and stuff like
right.
that. I'm so happy for you guys. And
Thank you.
yeah, best of luck with that. And yeah, send me any information. I could share stuff out of my channel and my little platforms and stuff too, and let my people know what's going on with that. And if someone's in the area, maybe they could attend that. But yeah, super excited for you all there. And yeah, we'll see how Donnie does. I'm excited for Donnie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met Donnie's awesome. I love Donnie. I've known Donnie a little while now, and I met him in Alabama. Donnie is the same. First of all, all of us you see on YouTube, we are exactly the same in in real life. We're not we don't fake nothing, right? This is who we are. Donnie is who he is. He's
Mhm.
being in real life. He's a lot of fun. He's gosh, he's cuts me up. We had a lot of good. I had a lot of fun with Donnie. I don't know if he's in the chat room, but he knows that anyway. So
Oh
good
yeah,
time.
cool. Yeah. What else? What else you got for me? Any more questions? Please ask away.
We're about there.
All right. Yeah. Anything else? You let me know. But yeah, no, I'm excited that I was able to get this out. And yeah, just once again, just stay tuned. And if you want to come check out what we're doing over here, feel free to, you know.
Yeah, BD, what's your channel again for everybody that
Yeah,
maybe does not know?
Yeah, we're Bigfoot Dwarf now, right? But
Yeah,
Bigfoot
you are. I'm sorry, hey, Brown Dwarf still implanted in my memory. Your name is Brown Dwarf in my phone, for God's sakes.
Yeah, no problem. You call me whatever you want there, BMR. And yeah, the handle, sometimes I guess people will use the handle to look people up or to tag, and it's at Brown Dwarf 4200. And yeah, I'm just got the gear and stuff now, working on trying to get my channel going with some interviews and stuff too, doing what you guys do, and then hopefully get to talk to you guys more and all that.
That'd be great. I'll always come on your show if you get one running. I'll have to get with you in the next few months. Come visit me. We'll hang out.
Right on. Anytime.
Whatever.
Yeah, and anytime.
Text me anytime, Dwarf. I'll come on, brother. You know that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And like I said, I know with text we could, do the real crime stuff. Once again, speaking of the Cecil, where Richard Ramirez stayed, actually they captured him right up the block from the shop here. A few blocks from right here is where they captured him. So Richard Ramirez used to run around here. It's kind of scary to think, but
Richard, yeah, that is scary. Briefly, too, thanks to Keith, T-Bone, and Kelly for your donations or memberships to the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. If you're new, please subscribe to the Blondes and the Booze. Texas from Porch, Bigfoot, Mr. Rob, Donny Cho says stuff, Monica Rawlins, Our Paranormal World, drawing a blank, Truth or Tinfoil, Paranormal Paul's out there, and Daniel Diva at Daniel Diva on YouTube.
Awesome job, Rob.
Thank you, sir. Great job from you, my friend. I love the show. Great show. Fantastic show.
I can't wait to meet you. I don't know where we're going to meet, but one of these days we're going to have to hook up.
Oh yeah, it'll happen. I feel it. And that's what we're working towards, to be able to get out there also, go visit places. There's a lot of exploring I want to do, and I'm sure maybe some of you do too. And I'd love to go explore with you as well. So, I'm all about that, linking up and checking out things and yeah, having this strange experience called life and making the most of it.
And that's a great way to put it's a strange experience, life in general, man. Absolutely. United States, North America. I wish I could visit every state that we've had and spend time and just check it out, because we do have a great world.
Yeah. And it's like the powers that be are working against us to not do that. So we're doing our best to fight against it. I believe you guys doing what you're doing is working towards that, and yeah, keep it up.
You too, Brown Dwarf, Bigfoot Dwarf.
Yeah.
Dwarf.
I'd call you by your first name, but I'm not going to give that out to anybody.
Yeah, it's gotten out there.
Oh, has it? Okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll keep it to myself, though.
Well, brother,
nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys too. Thank you, Tex. One love to you all. One love to everyone out there. Stay safe. Keep the eyes peeled. And we're out here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future.